Yo, what's up everyone? Kyrios here, and we finally have the data that kind of proves that the data mine drop rates are actually correct. Now, I did over 100 runs, split a little bit between chest 3 and chest 2, and I really want to show you guys my data. I feel comfortable giving you this data now, and I think this should help a lot of people out. So before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe, check out the Tower of Fantasy playlist, and let's get started. Okay, I need to get a couple of things out of the way. Now, some of these numbers are very napkin mathy, meaning I rounded them to just be a little bit easier on me. And secondly, analytics are usually done in a very large quantity, meaning that you would really have to do 1,000 runs of chest 3, 1,000 runs of chest 2, and 1,000 runs of chest 1. Now, I don't have the energy to do that. I did the best I could do. And I just really want to show you my results and the amount of gear I've gotten to drop by following this methodology with the drop rates that we know of. That brings us to our general PSA. Guys, if you're a dolphin or a whale or anything out there, please do not be that person that joins into a group and then leaves because other people are weaker. It should be really your responsibility to help other people. If you guys are wondering, all the runs that we did for this data, we did live on stream, and I carried as many people as I possibly could in order to get gear. That's the least anyone could do. If you're one of those people that just joins in, checks everyone's gears, and leave, not cool, dude. Not cool. Let's get into the data. Okay, guys. As you guys have been able to tell, I have a pretty decked out character. I'm in complete golds and stuff like that. Yes, I was buying vitality potions since day one, launch one. I've been buying 2 a day in order to prepare for that difficulty 7. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, I really suggested that you did not do joint operation until essentially level 60 because the drop rates for gold gear, especially in the SSR matrices, are just not good enough. Now, we did cover this on another video. You can check out the video on screen right now where we did go over these drop rates. But it's one thing to get data mine drop rates, and it's another thing to actually kind of prove it. So I want to just quickly go over this, right? So we did a level 60, 100 runs. Now, there's chest 1, you have a 1.2%, you have a 2.2% on the chest 2, and you have a 4.73% on chest 3 with the special fall. And what the special fall essentially does, it allows you to stack up pity. And we've been able to determine some really unique numbers. Now, here's my big tip. Big tip! All right, before we get into the data right quick, do not be doing joint operations without joint supply chips. It's really not worth it. You should be using your energy for still dimension trials or interstellar or anything like that for leveling your weapons when you don't have joint supply chips. And then secondly, another big tip, which we'll have another follow-up video proving this, gloves and boots are the most important if you can get good crit rate on them. And I've got some data to back that up on a future video. Let's get into the data. Now, I was able to, I recorded every bit of data that we did here. I did over 75 runs of chest 3. We'll fix that on the fly. 75 runs of chest 3. And then I did 25 runs of chest 2. Now, yes, should I have done 100 of both? And that's the way analytics work. But we were able to prove something when I was on my way to the 25th chest of chest 2. Now, I did not do chest 1 mainly because of those statistics. Yes, even though this says a 0% SSR matrix on chest 1, if you're stacking your pity, you still can pull it, right? It's just once you've pulled an SSR, the next chest, you have a 0% chance. But once that starts stacking up, right, you have a chance to pull on chest 1, but it's just not feasible. So what I want to show you guys is that blue matrices and blue equipment are 100% given to drop, right? So you see that you have 75, 100% percentage of getting that drop every single time. Now, without really running through these numbers insanely, what I do want to point out, which is a really interesting data, is that you can see here, here's my purple equipment. I had a 65% drop rate on purple equipment of chest 3, and this is just pulling chest 3. And then I had 23 gold equipments drop. Now, 12 of those roughly came from pity. And we'll talk about pity here in just a second and how we came to that number. But that's an insane amount of gold gear, and that's an insane amount of purple gear in 75 runs. Now, remember, this is all with the joint supply chip. That's why that ×2 is right there. But there is some really interesting data, right? So if the drop rate is normally 4.7, and we see that here, 4.7, we're rounding a bit, that joint supply chip brings it up to 9.4. Then, so if you pull your first chest, you get nothing. And say you pulled a piece of gold gear, and your next chest, you pull nothing. This is when the pity starts, right? We have that 8.2% stacking pity. But what's really interesting is that it stacks with your joint supply chip percentage. So if you take that 9.4 and that 8.2, it essentially comes to 17.6% roughly once you are on your way to pity. So if you divide that by 100%, you get roughly about 6 runs. In our data, 100% prove this. Now, yes, you can get gold gear. You can see here I got on run 14 and 15, I got gold gear back to back. That's just percentage. I had a percentage to get it. And I had 2 pieces drop on run 6. But there's something that's really interesting. Look at this. From 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, I never went more than about 6 runs without a piece of gold gear. Whether it was 2 pieces or 1 pieces, or it doesn't matter. So that almost falls in perfectly in line. And that's the whole way through 75. I'll share this spreadsheet with you guys. That falls in 100% at that 5.6%. Now, it really is rounded to 6 runs, right? Because you're not going to get 5.6 runs, roughly. Now, without pity, you can take that drop rate with that special fall. It gets you to about 13. You divide that by 100, you round it. It gets you to about 8 runs, typically. Now, here's where the data gets very interesting. And you can have some of these metrics. You guys can play around with these metrics here. You can put your total runs in. The pity count, we did come to 6 because that's what we got here when rounded. So we put the pity count there, and that's how we get this number here. Right? If I was to change the pity count to 8, right, you'd see this number automatically change here. So you guys can go ahead and copy this data and just plug in your own numbers. I have all the formulas already in place for you. Now, what's really interesting is when we get to chest 2 and I started testing this, we had 100% drop rate on blue equipment, but then we had less drop rate on purple equipment. Now, this might be a little bit skewed, right? I need to do 75 runs. This just might have been really bad percentages, but it was around 36%, which is way less than the 65% we were getting on the third chest. But what's really interesting is the gold equipment. On 25 runs, I only got 5 pieces of gold equipment. And what's really interesting about this is I did get a back-to-back equipment on 15 to 16, which was really cool. So my percentages fell into my favor. But what's really interesting is that we had a couple of runs as I was on my way to 25, where we went almost 8 runs without a piece of gold gear. And that almost falls perfectly in line with our statistics. So if we take our runs 25 and we assume 8 is the pity, and the numbers will prove that here in a second, and we always use a joint supply chip, your drop rate is 2.2%, right? 2.2% from that. You still get the special fall. That doesn't change, right? So we have 2.2% times 2 because of the joint supply chip gets you the 4.4. With the addition of the special fall, gets you to roughly 12.6 with chip. Now, if you divide that by 100, that almost exactly gets you to 8 runs. Like, the math just adds up. It literally just adds up. Now, if you do it without a supply chip, it's roughly around 10 runs, which is really interesting that data works out that way, because it looks like the joint supply chip doesn't affect the special fall, which is pretty typical for the course. But I've had some insane, excellent results. Now, guys, I know that was a lot of theory crafting. I'm sorry. I probably flashed some things on screen. But I want you guys to take this, copy this spreadsheet down to copy it to your own Google Drive, plug in your own numbers. Everything should work. All the percentages are there, all the divides, everything like that, the multiplications, all the everything you need should be in place here if you guys just fill in the matrix. And we had some people on Discord that also proved that had similar results for our chest 3. So what did we get from this? Well, we got that essentially that these drop rates are almost 100% accurate, because I was able to prove it without a shadow of a doubt that we were getting drop rates every 6 runs on gold equipment just pulling the third chest. So statistically speaking, if you wanted to be completely try hard about it, just pull the third chest. You'll get the best results. Now, you could just pull the third chest and then pull like the second chest after you've done that and clear all this and blah, 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 blah. And you could just go ahead and pull the first chest if you want to, and just realize that your drop rates are going to go lower and lower, right? That 30% went down to about 20%. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. I need to do more runs than I have on screen. Guys, let me know in the comments. Did this help you out at all? I don't know if it did. Hopefully this maybe gave you some peace of mind. I know there's going to be some people in the comments that be like, listen, Kyrios, I pulled 15 gold chest pieces off the first chest in 3 runs. Easy. You're doing it all wrong. You just got to pull better. I know that's going to happen, right? But what happened to me, and we did this live, you can check the VODs. I have all the footage of every single one of these runs. This is just what the math proved for me. So let me know in the comments down below if this helped you out. And good luck out there enjoying operations. And obviously, it'll get better when we get to the level 70, right? The percentages go up. So it gets even better. Anyways, guys, that's all I got. Hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video in Fist Bump from me to you.